if you're going out buying new trailer, new truck, and just doing a side hustle, you just gonna
end up selling in
you
February.
end up selling your equipment because you're not gonna last.
Because I wanted to, like I said, optimize to make sure everything stays out, stays busy. I make as much as I can with the equipment I have without buying more. But by doing that, how much money do I lose?
Just to be able to, sometimes how quick as a business owner, especially in this industry, you have to like switch on a dime. Like you have a certain plan, or you have something planned out for this whole year, right? As far as your dumpsters, or you had planned out, or I had planned out what was I gonna, and then all of a sudden something happens.
There's so many facets to business, and it's just finding those things that are comfortable for you, things that you like to work on, and then everything else, find ways of giving that to somebody else, delegating that to somebody else.
Yo, what is going on? This is podcast episode number
3.
Trace. Awesome. We've got a new face here. Actually, let's go. Let's go with him. Let's start with him. Introduce yourself, Omar. Let everybody know who you are, your company, and where you service.
My name is Omar Soto. I'm a operating manager for Rafter S Land Services based out of Kaufman, Texas. Basically serve Kaufman County, Dallas County, Rockwall County, and some of Ellis County. Not all of it, but I go anywhere as long as they're willing to pay.
Exactly. So you're in my area too?
Yeah. I was actually in Waxahachie last week.
Where's your can at?
It was...
Just show me the address later.
I was not close enough to you. I was like, now I'm going to swing by Josh's, but I was like...
Hey, he comes into Kaufman a lot more when we come over here.
Oh, I know.
Well, I was going to say, Kaufman is in your area as well, so let's keep going introducing ourselves, and we'll do it again just in case anybody hasn't watched episodes 1 and 2, which we'll link right here, by the way.
One of those. So we're skipping you, but they just know who you are?
No, I'm going to... I guess I'll finish up.
Hey, he's already YouTube famous, man. You don't need an introduction.
It's kind of a big deal. Dylan with Rhino Solutions out of Decatur, Texas. So I'm the exact opposite of the Metroplex, the Northwest. Kind of the Tarrant County, Wise County, Denton County area is my primary coverage.
And I'm Brian Ray with North Texas Waste Removal. My service area is pretty much identical to Omar's, Kaufman, Dallas, Rockwall, and parts of Ellis County.
And Josh, American AF Dumpsters and Trailers. Dallas County, Ellis County, Navarro County, and anywhere else where, like Kaufman. Omar said. Yeah. And Kaufman, I just go to Kaufman just to piss off Brian a little bit. We'll start advertising.
I guess that being said, I do technically have dumpsters in Dallas as well.
You do have dumpsters in Dallas. Yeah, it pisses me off too.
I shared.
It doesn't bother me. Dallas is huge. I really don't. I mean,
I hate coming to Dallas.
There's hundreds and hundreds of companies. I wish we could get a list of actually all the dumpster companies that are in just the Metroplex.
Well, just in Dallas alone, a couple of hundred. Mm-hmm. And also there's a lot of, I guess you could say, contractors that all they do is just move dumpsters for other companies. Mm-hmm. And so Dallas is a big market, a really huge market. Was Dallas the 4th largest
growing city? Yeah.
So it's a large area, and so,
which is why Dallas is one of the only cities that is completely open, right? I mean, It's open, but then they also are asking. Now, I heard they're going to start cracking down on not having a hauler's permit in Dallas.
I heard that too. I think what is it, like 7%, 5% you have to pay? Something like that.
So it's not going to be a flat rate; it'll be a percentage.
A percentage, just like Richardson and Garland.
You had to pay a annual fee plus percentage? No, just percentage. No. Okay.
I think Plano's the only one you have to pay like $500 a year.
Well, Weatherford does that $500 and like 10% or something, I think. I'll have to ask Justin.
So for those of you guys wondering, we're talking about franchise cities that are actually closed. Basically, the city will say only approved haulers, only approved dumpster companies can drop dumpsters off in this city, right? Some will allow companies like ours to go in. We have to sign an agreement, show proof of insurance, and commit to paying them a percentage of our proceeds, not profits, but a percentage of the net.
The gross.
The gross. And then, pay to play, basically. Which I'm okay. I'm personally okay with paying to play.
Yes,
as long as
absolutely.
it's open for everybody.
Open
I think
for
we've talked
everyone.
about this before, but then you've got other cities like our friends over in Mesquite that are completely closed and they don't want anybody in their
Kaufman.
city. Kaufman. What other cities are like that?
Well, a lot of cities, Crandall,
Gainesville,
Greenville.
Sherman.
Forney, Terrell.
Shoot, even Red Oak, I believe, right?
Red
Oak
Oak.
is just like that.
It's just it just depends on the person who's in charge of the ordinances. Some don't care, some
Right.
do. It's one of those macho things that I can bust some balls. Sorry, bust some balls and type thing. But
They're
like
starting to care in Kaufman.
yeah,
So does Kaufman? Do they run their own stuff?
No,
they're
Mesquite?
Republic.
Okay. So I've
They're
noticed
Republic.
like Gainesville has their own, Sherman has their own, I think McKinney has their own. Those are the ones that seem to mainly want to enforce it and kind of have the stricter. I think like Gainesville, I want to say it's like $2,000 a day, kind of like a Bonham. But Bonham doesn't run theirs, right? Where Liberty, I can't remember who he said they use. But
Oh
anyways,
yeah, I know what you're talking about that guy that.
the $42,000
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. No, I don't think they do
Is
their
that
own.
Bonham?
They Republic.
Yeah, that was Bonham.
Yeah,
But
that
so-
city's lost their freaking minds.
I believe it was Republic.
But a lot of
$200 a
those,
day.
I mean, because some of those, if that's in a franchise agreement, like if we're running up there, quote unquote, we're taking money out of Republic's pocket or whatever, but when the city's running their own, like Mesquite, like we're taking their money directly. So I think that's why they're a little more angry when they see us around. But
Well, I got a phone call yesterday, and I forwarded him to you. Completely slipped my mind that you're standard rail as well. But I got a phone call yesterday that a guy was going to get his dumpster towed or impounded in Grand Prairie.
Yep.
So I've been to Grand Prairie.
I've been in Grand Prairie plenty of times, never had any issues.
Yeah.
Same with.
But apparently he parked on the street.
Yeah.
That's my thing with the parking in the street. I always tell the customers like, hey, I can park it in the street, but you're responsible for any type of permits that are required, or I get citation. You're responsible for it.
you know, I did that one time as what is that over there by the colony?
Decatur or
I
Denton.
mean, just east of the colony, over off
Allen?
121. What was it?
Alan,
I think it was Allen. It was a nice neighborhood, corner house right next to a school, and they wanted it in the street. And I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. I was like, if I get a ticket or it gets impounded or whatever, like I'm adding that to the bill. And they're like, no, it'll be fine. I left there for 2 weeks. Like it was in the school zone, so everybody had to drive around my dumpster every day. It's there for 2 weeks. Never heard anything about it. I was really surprised.
We were in Bedford, and I left it on the street. That's that teeter-tottering one in the driveway I sent you guys a picture about. Left it on the street, and I was worried because Bedford is here in Waxahachie. That's the one time I got a phone call from Waxahachie is because I left it in the street. They said, you know what? Between you and I don't care if it's on the driveway, but if we leave it on the street, we have to enforce. I was like, no problem, on my way. If they're reasonable, I'm reasonable, right? But if they're like, move your junk now, and they call with an attitude, that's when I like, there's a switch that turns on in me that for some reason just kind of
Yeah, I think we've all seen that.
ticks me off a little bit. I hate that switch.
You and your city can kiss my.
Anyways, we were talking about Omar being new to the podcast, and you had
didn't-
an idea on what to.
When you didn't introduce or show off the new podcast area, so we
Yeah.
could fit more people. The teleprompter's a little further away now, though, so it's harder for me to read. But
I got a teleprompter back there actually.
Do you really?
Yeah,
I need one of those.
it's actually pretty cool. I'll send you the Amazon link.
I appreciate it.
I wouldn't TikTok.
3%.
When TikTok this
No, that
time.
one wasn't TikTok. No.
Okay, so having a new guy, everybody's kind of heard ours if they've watched the other videos. And then now I feel like I get wishy-washy because business has been different than I expected so far this year, so now I'm rethinking. But as far as growing our businesses, we've talked about Brian doing his dumpster snowball approach.
What was it you called it?
The avalanche.
Same
Dumpster
thing.
avalanche.
Dumpster avalanche. Yeah.
Hopefully, it will be an avalanche.
Yeah, and so
Wait. Why did you call it dumpster avalanche?
because Snowball is already Dave Ramsey's.
Dave
got
Ramsey's.
Snowball. So
And that's
already
actually
kinda-
the reason why I called it snowball, because
right.
it makes sense.
But I'm like, that's already kind of taken. We'll call it an
That's true.
avalanche.
Let's call it
But-
an avalanche. It's cooler
Anyways,
anyway.
But so if you haven't heard, he's gonna. Well, you can explain it, or you don't.
I'll explain it real quick. So, I have saved up the money to purchase one dumpster from Keystone. Once that dumpster is purchased and I put it in service, every time I rent that dumpster outside of taxes, I'm going to pull taxes and my profit out of it. A percentage of the dumpster rental will go to profit and taxes. The rest of that goes into a savings account until I have the money to purchase a second one. Once I purchase a second one, then both of the revenue from the two new dumpsters will go into purchasing a third. And then once the third's purchased, the 3 dumpsters will go into purchasing a fourth, and it will just kind of snowball and build. And hopefully by the
avalanche. It's going to avalanche.
It's going to avalanche. And hopefully by the end of the summer, early fall, I'll be purchasing 2 and 3 at a time instead of just one. So I'm hoping to bring online anywhere from 10 to 15, 25 yards this year.
Okay. So the difference, that's what I kind of want to discuss again and just get new insight on it. 10 to 15. I am planning, I'm actually going to speak with Bram this week about ordering 10 now.
You just said the last podcast,
I know, that's why
episode number 2, that you weren't buying anything else.
That's exactly
that was not even a month ago.
It is.
They sure did.
That's why I said I wish wash them. But it is February, and I have been sold out of 30s and 40s for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I have none. And we're not even in the busy season yet. So I'm like, well, if I'm a hired driver and I've got both trucks running, I need more cans. It doesn't make sense to pay for 2 trucks if I don't have enough to keep 2 trucks running. So that would be my approach to go that way, to get 10 now and have them going into the busy season. Heck, I'm already turning down work or get to the point where I got to sub it out now.
Why you give me a side eye when you said that?
What?
You're gonna sub it out.
I'll
take it gladly. I mean, understand.
No, that wasn't bad.
That was a side eye. I felt it.
You're one of my only guys I can send 30s and 40s.
I have to sub it out, I guess.
Gosh. But so yeah, I gotta send it to. I looked at you because you got 30s, 40s. Anyways, I talked to Bram last week. I think I was up there, and we were kind of just talking about the different views on that. Paying cash, the financing them, the finance options, and what that really looks like. And there's companies that will lease them to you. You can do 12 month, 24, 36 month with a balloon at the end to buy them out. You can do just a full, normal loan, pay them. But we kind of balanced the options. And from what we were looking at on average I was going off 30 and 40 numbers. I'm not sure on the smaller ones, but the prices aren't that much of a difference. It'll cost you about $250 a month or less. I think I've got like $1,000 payment on an order of 6 was what that was. So less than $200 per dumpster a month. So if each dumpster went out once a month, they pay for themselves. Mm-hmm. If they go out 3 and 4 times, you're making money. That's why I'm not afraid to finance them. I mean, yeah, it's debt, but like Josh references good debt all the time versus bad debt. Therefore, if it goes out 3 times a month, the first one pays the loan. The next 2, I make money. I'm making money on the bank's money. Mm-hmm. Now in the winter, if they're sitting in my yard, then yeah, I'm paying for them. Where Brian's approach, you don't have that. But it's winter right now and I'm sold out. So I'm not sweating any of them. I know Josh kind of does the same thing as far as spend the bank's money. Let's make money off that. Omar, I don't think we've ever had this conversation on what your views or approach with adding inventory. How would you gonna go like to the bank like us? You like Brian's debt free, not worry about it?
So my approach is kind of, I don't have like an actual approach, to be honest. A little bit about us. We're a small company. We only have 6 dumpsters. 3 20s and 3 15s. We're still doing truck and trailer. We started out with 3 cash, and the following 3, which are the 3 20s, we bought those cash as well, and those are just proceeds from the actual rentals themselves. And that's kind of how I've been doing it. Just trying to pay cash as much as possible, but this is still a side hustle type thing for me. I still have a full-time job, 9 to 5, which is not really 9 to 5, but and also we have other avenues of income for my family and stuff. But I agree with how you are doing it. And I've, in the past, just reading comments on Facebook, especially when on Josh's videos and stuff, when, buying big trucks and, a lot of dumpsters. I think at the end of the day, if you really want to grow and be successful in this industry, you have to use other people's cash. You can't use your own cash to grow.
Or it's gonna take a long time.
Yeah,
Right.
because if you do it the way I'm doing it or Brian does it, yes, you can do it, and there's nothing wrong with it, but it's going to take a long time, and that's basically it's taking me time. And I'm in a rush, but in the same time, I'm not.
Right.
It's still my
Well,
side.
Brian's deal, if he does do that 10 to 15 this year and follow that same growth next year, I mean, he could grow pretty quick. But that first year or 2 years, because I know we can talk in that in a minute, but getting started's hard.
Yeah, because you need just like in the dumpster industry, it takes volume. You need to have
Yes.
volume. If you don't have dumpsters, if you're only playing around with 3 dumpsters, you're not going to be successful at all.
Unless you're doing the 1 and 3 day
Yeah,
rentals. You
or
gotta
a side
turn them
hustle.
quick.
Side Like, if you're just trying to make
if you're
side
just doing a side hustle, 3, 6 dumpsters, you're fine.
Right.
But if you're going out, buying new trailer, new truck, and just doing a side hustle, you just gonna
End up selling in
you
February.
never end up selling your equipment because you're not gonna last. Especially in the DFW area where we at, competition is tough.
Yep.
You know, there's guys out there that do junk removal with just a dump trailer, 16-foot, 20-foot trailer, and they charge way cheaper than us. Again, when I started, it was in July 2021. The same guys that started when I did are not in business no more.
That's those guys will come bring their trailer and load it for less than I'm going to bring them a dumpster.
Yeah.
So
'Cause
it is competition for sure.
Yeah, they lowball everybody, and it takes time, but they realize it's like, hey, I'm not really not making any money, especially if you're doing junk removal. That's I think when Josh started, he does what he was doing.
He did one.
He finally realizes like this is not for me.
Nope. This is actually work.
There's no AC in this garage. What the heck?
This is stupid.
But I think overall, you have to, it's come to the point where you just have to finance equipment. And for me, so my background is I do have a finance degree. That's what I do. I'm more of a purchasing agent, so I do a lot of dealing with numbers and stuff, and I understand how money works, and you need outside money to grow, and you just have to me, you just have to take that risk. If you're not willing to take that risk, you're not even going to grow. And so, yes, it's going to be painful, especially in the winter times. Like, Josh still has all those 10 new dumpsters out there that haven't moved.
We were going to tell him.
9.
Let's get this straight. It's only
a risk.
9.
It's a risk.
Yep.
But imagine those 10 dumpsters are not going to be in this yard here in a couple of weeks.
Right.
It's fixing to be March, April. It's going to be the busy season's fixing to start. If it's having, to me, it kind of somewhat already started. And so it's like if you're out already, yeah, you should have those dumpsters already, and you're gonna finance them. But you're gonna be able to pay off those dumpsters.
Right. Yeah. Don't go finance if you don't have work. If you're not busy.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, if you're not, and that's, I didn't buy any for I bought. I started with 5. I think for my first 8 months, I think I had 5 dumpsters. And I only actually ordered more when I bought the bigger truck because I could get 30s then. But then I sat on those until they were gone. Once I was sitting at like that 3 and 4 weeks of not having it, it's okay, now I'll buy more. I mean, because you're going to have a good week, and the next week they all come back in. Like we were just talking, Josh's big dumpsters and little dumpsters, they flip-flop which ones are going to be in the yard. So just because you have you sell out, don't go order some. Let it ride a little bit, make sure it's going to be a little more consistent. Starting out, all of us can attest that it's not the field of dreams. Just because you buy equipment doesn't mean the phone's going to ring. It took me a solid year to start getting more consistent phone calls, get repeat customers. So it is kind of slow. I wouldn't go, if you're just getting started, don't go buy a truck or a trailer and order 10 or 15 dumpsters if you haven't already been out selling it, if you haven't been doing your SEO, if you're not going to have the work, definitely you don't want to buy a bunch, finance them, and be making that payment.
Yes, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. So, like I said, I'm the operating manager, so that means I have partners, and my partners are going to be my wife and my dad. And so we have some resources, and my dad's like, well, let's go ahead and just buy more dumpsters. Like, no, hold on. I don't want to buy more dumpsters and not constantly be busy. You know, if I'm not be able to sell out every week or every other week, there's no point in buying more dumpsters. So let me work on my marketing. Let me work on my clientele. Then once I have that established, then let's pull the trigger and put those resources into buy more dumpsters, or use that resource to a down payment on a larger capital loan to buy a truck. That's kind of my goal right now, is to get in the mid-sized truck. But then I'm starting thinking about it again. It's like, should I go spend $120,000, $170,000 on a mid-sized truck? Should I just go with the bigger tandem truck? Because when you start looking in our area, our market, again, there's too many 20s, too many 15s. I need to go with the 30s because I get
stay
phone
out of
calls.
our market.
I'm at a point where I get in phone calls. It's like, hey man, do you have any 30s? Do you have any 40s? It's like, no. And I'll be like calling Josh. It's like, hey, or trying to find some 30s. It's like, well, I have to mark those up.
Right.
It's like, no, I can get them cheaper. It's like, well, no, sorry. I wish I could help, but I can't. And I really can't. For me, it's been hard to convince two people to rent out two 20s to make a 40, because I just can't get to that price they want.
Right.
It's just hard.
Because that's even if you stack them to get them there on one trip. If you're making 2 trips to pick them up, it's costing you time and money.
But the truth is, like, I didn't. I'm going to go back to the financing. I didn't go out and finance dumpsters right away either.
Oh, no, you went the slow route.
I went the super slow route, and I took one step at a time. But people that just start watching the channel now sometimes might see that, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh yeah, he's just spending an arm and a leg on dumpsters and trucks." And it's like, I grew to that point. It's not. Exactly. It's not like I am made of money and I just started at this point. So absolutely, like Omar said, you've got, and like you said as well, you've got to grow yourself. You've got to grow your business into your business, if that makes sense, right? Like, you can't just, it's like you said, it's not a field of dreams. It's not like, let me buy them and it'll be there. The other thing is, like, these are the first set of dumpsters I'm going to finance. I have never financed dumpsters before. So I'm sitting at 52-ish, I believe.
Well, you did the DRS loan on some,
I did do, yes. Okay, I take that back. I did do the DRS loan. That was a very quick loan, though.
Right.
I think I paid that off in like 3 months. Yeah. So, yeah, you're right there. So, with having now a second tandem truck, though, I need more bigger dumpsters. And there's always a reason, and there's always a rhyme and a reason of why I'm doing what I'm doing. But I don't, one of the things I really don't want people to do is all of a sudden they just, like I said, turn on the channel now or turn on the videos, and all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, this is what he's doing. Let me go do that, because it's not, that's not the way to, you do it. You've got to grow into your business. And I love using the bank's money, but it's very risky. Like yes. Omar was saying, it's super risky. You have to know what you're doing. You can lose out. You can lose your, whatever you have tied to you. You can lose your credit. You can lose all kinds of stuff. Your house, if you're using that. Just be super careful on what you're doing. But at the end of the day, like, having extra dumpsters in the yard for me is essential for my growth. That's the way I look at it. I never want to be at the point anymore now where I'm sold out.
Right. Yeah.
I want to always have inventory. But it's taken me 4.5 years to get to where to where this is my thought process. Right.
And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of let you do things first and figure it out, and then I'll just be okay. That's it. Skip the dump trailer, skip the roll-off trailer. He told me to buy a truck. All right, so I got a truck. Oh, 30s and 40s, less competition. Let's get 30s and 40s in tandem. No, I'm just kidding. But I do go to Josh quite a bit when I have ideas and stuff. But that same thing is kind of what made me change my mind. I know I said last month that I was going to try to perfect everything and just optimize, but I'm sold out right now. So I'm like, okay, I can't justify having both trucks and paying a driver to do what I am currently covering by myself. So to justify the extra truck, the extra expense, like Josh just said, I need more cans. So I think it's kind of where I'm at with my area. Kind of figured out last year I was running 14 cans for most of the busy season last year, and that kept me busy. That kept me really busy. Towards the end of the year, I got some more cans, but I think because of my location, how far the landfills are, where the majority of my customers are, I can do about 15 cans comfortably per truck. I'm at 20 right now, so that's where I'm thinking I'm probably going to order 10 more, which would give me that average of 15 per truck to cover. And I think that's reasonable without running anybody in the ground. And maybe we'll see how the year goes. I might pick up more. I was fixing to ask, you said you want dumpsters in the can. That's kind of what I've been thinking. And I know that we had talked about this with you, I think, in the first episode, but about you were sold out quite a bit, almost all of last year, right, with your 7. Mm-hmm. And so it's okay, how much work did I lose? I know Daniel talked about this in one of his lives, I believe, with ordering his cans, was he didn't want to spend the money, didn't want to get the loan, but then when he balanced it out with the amount of work that he missed and turned down because he was sold out, it's kind of made me rethink, because I wanted to, like I said, optimize, just make sure everything stays out, stays busy. I make as much as I can with the equipment I have without buying more. But by doing that, how much money do I lose? Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of what I've been battling like myself with, trying to figure that out, optimize that. So I did change, and I said I wasn't going to buy more, but as I kind of reworked that, and I don't think that 10 probably won't be all I buy this year. Honestly, I think that's a good base. But like Josh said, I don't want to be sold out. I really think that 75 to 80% of my inventory out, I'm usually comfortable. I get stressed out when my yard's empty, because I'm like, oh no, I'm turning down work. I get stressed out when my yard's full because nothing's running. But I've kind of noticed, me personally, my stress level, if I've got 75 to 80% of my cans out, I know I'm making money, and I know I'm not going to turn any work down. That's kind of my comfort spot. So if I am constantly running that 30, then I want at least probably 5 or 6 cans sitting in the yard available. I think I would still be okay with that without having 10, 15, 20 sitting in the yard. I might start stressing they need to go out. So that's kind of, do you have or have you even thought about like what's your happy place? Like, I don't want 15 out here, but I'd like to have 3 or 4 out here. Or what is ideal, you think, as far as having them available? What's your, Brian ran full capacity last year. I ran full capacity last year. You probably didn't ever really run out of cans, right?
Oh, I ran out of 30 several times.
Okay.
And like I said, it always, like you said, it flip flops. It's never. It seems like it's never where all my 15s, I've always had 25s. It seems, because once I got my 30s, my 25s have sat a lot. Right. I believe I have all 7 those sold coming this week. But which is good, because I don't want any more 25s. I just want 15s, 20s, 30s, and 40s. Now, yeah, when the small cans are really, really busy, it seems like my big cans are slow. And when my big cans are really busy, it seems like my small cans are slow. It's just kind of weird. But like I said earlier, it's like I want to be prepared so that when something does happen, we've got a freeze coming up. I'm crossing my fingers like a lot of people have flood. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, at the end of the day, like,
pipes break.
No, it happens though. What was it, a couple years ago? I mean, I was rolling like crazy trying to get cans back just so I can, meet the demand, and I could not. So
that was my only experience with frozen dumpsters, because broke pipes, wet sheetrock going into the dumpsters, and it would freeze at night. And that was the only time I ever had to actually shovel stuff out.
I had to the other day.
I catch Brian at the landfill twice in 2 days the other day. But yeah,
is that when he was sitting there?
When I said he was slow, he was in there digging frozen stuff out of his
guys. Really?
It was a beating.
It got frozen. Huh?
It froze. Because it rained, and then it froze, and so the inside of the dumpster, the first thing I thought of was Clayton.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know how those guys up north do this. This is stupid.
But I think on this deal, as far as the financing versus not financing, I think there was a time and place for both. And I think that everybody is in a different place when they, as far as the model of their business model, their finances, their credit, all different kinds of things. So there's guys out there who are have the credit and who are growing in a way that borrowing money and makes sense. And then there's guys out there who are just getting started and don't have the capital, or have had bad things in their past when it comes to credit, or whatever it is, that need a way of being able to build an inventory, at least at the beginning, where they don't have to rely on financing. Hopefully, ultimately, you'll get there to a point to where you are growing fast enough because of your SEO or your pay-per-clicks or your networking or whatever it is, that you're growing in a way that it justifies, and you have built your business credit up after a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it takes, where you can get lines of credit, you can get financing to where you can start rolling that way. But right now, the way that I have seen my business grow in 2 years, if I was to go out and purchase, let's just say 15, right now I would have a lot sitting in the yard. I don't think that that's going to be the case this summer or early fall, but right now it is. And so me growing organically in the pace that I have and what I'm expecting this year, this kind of makes sense. Yeah. As far as paying cash a little bit and letting those dumpsters, I'm not taking on any more salary. My operating expenses aren't growing, even though I'm bringing in new dumpsters, but I am bringing in inventory to where I don't have to pay interest or pay anybody back.
Right.
And I think that makes the most sense for me, because that's going to put me over 20 dumpsters. I think that, or closer to 25. I think that makes the most sense for me this year.
Right.
Now, next year, when I go to add a truck or whatever, I don't think that's going to necessarily be the case. I think it would be smarter for me at that point to start borrowing and bumping up a little bit quicker.
Well, that's why there's no real rhyme or reason. Like, you put 4 different guys in a room, and you're going to get 4 different answers on how they grow in their business. I mean, each are going through our own path, our own journey, and what works for you may not work for us, and what works for us may not work for you. May not work for you guys. But there's no right or wrong answer.
Well, that's the good thing about doing this, though, because the people watching are going to relate to one of us.
Right, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, if you got another opinion, come on.
But there are people out there that just don't have the choice.
Yeah,
they don't have the credit to go out there and purchase and get it. And that's just where they are. And hopefully that won't be where they are a year from now. But that's where they are. And to be able to scale your business, if you're not scaling, you're shrinking, basically. If you're not growing, you're going backwards. And so having at least a way of being able to go out there and scale your business, even if it's a little bit, that's so much better than being stagnant where you're at. And so next year will be different for me, but this year I think it makes the most sense.
What do they say? You either have money, time, or credit. Yeah. Or hopefully you're Elon Musk and you got all 3. I don't know.
You got all 3.
Hey, speaking of that growing, just made me think we actually integrated QuickBooks. Everybody keep asking why I wasn't running that, so I'm trying to catch up and kind of be a little more organized and take advantage of technology.
You mean your wife?
So you're actually going away from legal pads and hen scratch?
Josh called me out. I was fixing that. Well, actually, my wife did.
You mean your wife?
She's been working on that for 3 days.
The
last 3 days, she's been updating everything, getting all that in there. But yeah, kind of that was the deal. After we've talked about it, it's like, if I'm going to grow, I definitely can't do things the old school way. I won't be organized enough.
No,
she even synced up like some calendar. I don't know if it's through an email or whatever, but on my phone every morning I get a notification of my to-do list, because I'm horrible about not checking our software to know. It's like I just know in my head. So she makes sure and sends me my to-do list reminder every morning, and yeah, she saves me.
You know, there's a thing called the internet and stuff, right?
Yeah,
apps.
I just use Marketplace. That's it. Facebook Marketplace. That's the only thing I get on. But no, I do agree with what you're saying. And your growth method is definitely a lot safer than ours. Omar, being a side hustle, he can take his time on that. I know everybody coming in different. You have retired, right?
Yes, because I have a pension.
Right, so you have that coming in. He's got a 9 to 5. When I had my day job, I wasn't able to really run my company, so I had to take that leap, quit my job and go full time. And in doing that, I need the volume Omar was talking about. I couldn't grow slowly because it wasn't going to support itself, let alone my household. So I kind of did take advantage of the credit to grow, to make more money, or else I was going to be getting a job again. Like I set myself up. If you have the availability, if your landfill hours allow it, I definitely didn't have enough income to hire a driver to run it for me. My landfill closed too early for me to do anything during the week, so Saturday was the only day I could dump stuff or drive 100 miles down here to dump, and that's not practical. And so by me taking that leap, I actually kind of forced myself to have to grow faster than most people do. So I think that's why I approached it and grew as fast as I did. I did do a lot of it on credit. The business does pay for itself. But that is another thing to consider. I know we have a few guys in our network I've talked to about, I won't call them out, but we got a text in the group about considering quitting his job within the next year and trying to go full time and not being that busy. And it's like, well, if I got a tandem truck in 30s and 40s, I'd be busier because I have some connections there. So should I quit my job? And we're like, well, no, you don't have the truck, the dumpsters, you're not doing work for them yet. Don't quit your job yet. But we've had discussion on how to go that route. So it is different for everybody. Mm-hmm. You got a lot to factor in. Some people will disagree with the amount of debt we've taken out, but it all pays for itself, and I still make money on top of it, so I don't see a problem with it.
If I had $1 for every guy who told me, though, that he was going to get into this business because he knows somebody who knows somebody
right.
who's going to get them work, I wouldn't need to rent dumpsters no more. Like it's crazy how I don't want to say naive, but it's crazy how people think. Let me just jump into debt. Let me just jump into this business because my cousin who's married to a contractor says they're going to give me a lot of work, and it's scary. And that's where I say, like, definitely, don't quit your day job until you start actually getting to work. Don't go out and spend a whole bunch of money. Like, start slow, like you've been saying. But I just hear that all the time, and it's just. I try to warn people because everybody can talk. It's like back in the limo days. It's like the ones who talk the most and the guys who were the most trash will be like, oh, I'm gonna take care of you at the end of the night, and then they walk away without even giving you a tip.
Right.
It's the same thing.
And I even had some of those after I started. Those guys, if you got dumpsters, I'd use you, and then it didn't. It's like, oh, I thought you meant 30s and 40s. If you had the big ones, I could use you, and then you get the big ones, and even some of those. They do now, but it still took me like a year to get their business because they weren't having issues with their current people, and then I got to go in our prices. Some of those guys were cheaper, so some of them were close enough I could price match. Some of them you just got to get them to, hey, take a chance on me. I'll show you the service is worth it or whatever. But yeah, even the ones that I thought were sure deals, it took me 2 years really to basically like get their work consistently, anyways. So don't go put yourself in a bind over words. Like, if you can find a way to ease into it, make sure they're actually using, make sure you're busy. I definitely play it safe.
Even then, I mean, if you're putting all your eggs in, or you're putting your one egg in a basket and relying on that, what happens if they find somebody else? Or then you have this investment in these dumpsters and all this kinds of things and no way to pay your bills.
So
you have to have some diversity in your clientele, especially in the commercial aspect of it, because even relying on residential isn't safe. I mean, that's up and down a lot more than what the stability of having a lot of commercial clients throughout the course of the year. That's my commercial clients has kept my business up and running since the holidays.
Yeah.
So you have to be smart and make some smart decisions as far as business goes. And if you're not business minded, then read books, get smart, take classes, go to conferences, do what it takes to get that knowledge where you can make sound business decisions.
So I think Mike Andy sits on what you were saying. Don't put all your one egg in the basket. Mike Andy sits on it in different videos, but he did a video with can I get his first name? Lightweight over in California. They did a what do you call that? The business turnaround with them. And they had a customer that was like, oh, if you had X amount of dumpsters, I'll keep them busy. So they bought the new Freightliner, bought more dumpsters, and then where that guy was supposed to be running, I think, we can keep 12 to 15 dumpsters. He was using like 4. Mm-hmm. And so they just bought all this stuff to service this one customer, and it wasn't near what he said it was going to be. Mm-hmm. I think Mike Andy says you don't want ever in any service industry to run, I think it was 60% of your business from one customer.
Yes.
Because if you lose 60% of your revenue, that's a big deal. And being versatile. If you got that one friend with a construction company that's going to use you for all their stuff, like, you need about 6, 7 more of those customers too to be, solid. I think we've kind of hit on that. One thing that I thought about while we have Omar here, because I know it was kind of a joke. Brian's SEO is getting outdone by Omar's secret methods. What is
Do you have an SEO? I want to know. Do you have an SEO company?
Who, me?
Yes.
No, I do not. I do my own SEO. So a little bit about me. So I done the Google ads. Paid I don't know how many guys to do my ads. I paid the people that did my website. I also paid them to do my SEO. That's one thing. Yeah, I really need to be careful who y'all trust, who y'all's money. Hold them liable for the stuff they do for you, especially Google ads, because Google ads, you will burn through money on it. I was checking them on the daily, making sure whatever they were doing was what we're supposed to be doing and actually getting the results. It turns out, it came to a point where all these guys were just doing stuff that didn't make sense. It's like, hey, you're just burning money and you're not getting me any results.
Right.
And I only gave them, a couple of months. It's like, I'm not going to spend thousands of dollars on you guys if I'm not going to get any real results.
Right.
Same thing with SEO. They charge a lot. SEO charges a lot. It takes time. Know exactly what they're doing to your website, what things they're changing on their website to actually make it work. Because they might telling you they're spending an hour and a half on SEO, and they might just change a couple of words. I was like, well, why are you charging me an hour and a half? And so that's why it came to a point where I was like, I'm not going to pay for this. I started doing my SEO. And I kind of started using some of AI to do some of my SEO work. Again, Google does recognize when you use AI to do your SEO.
Okay.
So don't just copy and paste. Change up some of the wording where it actually sounds like it's a human writing the SEO work. And so that's what I've been doing. I've not messed with my SEO in maybe 3 months. But, last week I started changing it up again. You kind of has, especially on those mega tags, you kind of have to change them up. Make sure you're, tracking those keywords. Make sure you're up there. But I haven't messed with it in, like I said, 3 months.
Well, you made me have a meeting with my SEO company. When I started seeing Rafter S above me and Google search near me, and we're both out of Kaufman, and you were higher than me, I was going, time out. Yeah. I'm paying monthly for this, and I know this guy. He doesn't have an SEO company working for him. So
another thing too is on a lot of websites where you can have server locations, and then you have multiple cities, and each city has its own little page. Don't copy the same content from one page to the other. Change it up a little bit, because Google will recognize that you're just copying and pasting. Yeah, you're changing out the city, but you need to have different kind of content, and I think that helps a lot. And also just make sure, again, just do your research on keywords. That's all I've done. The only thing that's been screwing me over is on my Google Maps is my reviews. I think I have a 0.47. And it's just because 2 guys decided that they didn't want to pay their overage, and so they wrote me bad reviews. It is what it is.
So I'm not smart enough to do any of that myself, at all.
I'm not either.
I've joked that I can barely figure out how to set up an email.
But I believe it.
I believe it as well.
So for 2 years, I've had, you've got your Josh at American AF, I've had a Dylan at rhinosolutioncx.com email for 2 years. I've paid for it for 2 years through GoDaddy, but I never could figure out how to get in it. Finally, Friday night, I was on a mission to get this dang email going. I'm like, that's a little more professional, It took me 4 hours to figure out how to get this email set up and on my phone. Nice. I got it at 2 o'clock in the morning. Hey. I finally have it on my phone. But it took me 4 hours. Yeah.
That's all that matters. Victories.
You got it. Speaking about emails.
Okay, wait, I'm lying. My wife still figured that out.
Speaking
but it's on my phone now.
I think we need to invite your wife.
I think we need to.
At episode number
out there in the
episode number 4. I think we're gonna leave Dylan at home and we're gonna bring his wife in.
Yeah. Speaking about emails though, make sure guys, if you have an email, just I know you can get a Google email for free, or you can get the business one. Change that Gmail to your actual business name.
That's why I did that.
It makes it more professional, especially if you're growing, you have to reach out to companies, mid or small companies. It just makes you look way more professional, and you don't have to have a website to have that company @.com email address. So I think that helps a lot, especially when again you're dealing with contractors. Contractors usually want their invoices emailed. They don't want the text to them. Obviously they're going up to accounts payable, and so they need to have some type of formal document saying, hey, it's actually coming from this company.
Yep, so we've always, because we did the Gmail, when we were first setting stuff up, just 'cause I didn't want my personal email. And then once we got our website or bought our domain, having that option to do emails, I'm like, oh yeah, it's going to be all official. Like I said, I never could figure out how to use it, so I haven't. But that was the same thing when I always kind of felt, it didn't say anything about you. It was a me personal thing. I hated giving people my Gmail address, like my business, company name @Gmail. I'm like, that just seems kind of
cheesy.
Yes, exactly.
And people get offended by that.
How do you say that? How do you say that without calling? I'm not saying anything bad if you're okay with it. I just didn't like doing it.
That's what I'm saying. People get offended by that sometimes.
Right.
It's usually the ones that are using Gmail, and they're like, well, but you're 100% right. It makes your company look a lot more legitimate. If I'm going to do business with a professional company and they're, love my GTR @gmail.com exactly. or whatever. I'd rather not do business with that dude because I think that.
Yeah. So another thing too, like a lot of these account payables departments, when they're dealing with, I know Brian takes ACH, they won't process an invoice that just comes from a random Gmail account, just because there's fraud out there, guys. Yep. Scammers. They're trying to, I've seen it in person, so I know, not personally to me, but for the company I work for. Right. And so that's why it's really important. Even for ACH transactions, we need to have business letterheads. That's really important to have business letterheads.
On your
SEO?
invoices?
No, when you're trying to send your request, even from customers, if you're trying to, they want to do an ACH, make sure you get that, information on an official letterhead. Because you never know who that person is on the other side. They could be working for, I don't know, let's say just American Native Construction, but who knows if that person is actually using that money for the company or some personal use. So
I have one customer that pays that way. I don't really know how that works. My wife set that up with them, but no, that's when you said letterhead. I didn't know if you meant
it doesn't. If they're already paying that way, you're going, but just make sure they're the ones paying the fees. I don't know.
SEO and AdWord people are in my eyes, the modern day snake oil salesman. You know what I'm saying? It's so hard to trust somebody.
Oh, they promise everything.
Yeah, and the SEO will be
deliver.
Pay me for 6 months, but you won't see results until 6 months from now. It's okay, who's going to pay you $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 a month for no guaranteed results, and then hope that 6 months from now, by then you have $6,000, $10,000, $12,000 of my dollars, and I'm supposed to hope that I'm gonna get some business from it. So doing it on your own, that's how I did my previous company, and we became the top ones for most keywords in my previous company. I just haven't had the time to do it, and the thing is, it's constantly changing, right? Google's always changing and updating and changing their things, but if you could do it on your own, it's way, way better for you.
So do you think that's, if somebody was shopping around, trying to find somebody to help with those, do you think it's you get what you pay for, or do you think it's industry specific, or if somebody for me, I don't know how to do any of that. I would spend months trying to figure out how to do it. Mm-hmm. Time is money. So if I was to shop around, I have a guy that so far everything's great with, but for those out there, if somebody wanted help with ads or SEO, would you recommend teach yourself, or do you say, hey, find somebody that specializes in your industry?
I think it's one of those things, if you have the time to do it, you can definitely do it yourself. Google offers free courses. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know if that's what you did or
no. So I just YouTube and just reading upon it, but I think Josh doesn't do it full time, but he has an understanding how it works. I think that's really important for the owners themselves to understand how it works, because
if you're paying somebody, you need to be able to check.
Yeah,
because you wouldn't hire an accountant and not make sure that they're not
exactly
right.
And so that's what we were talking about. You talked about QuickBooks. Those are really important. Just basic bookkeeping skills is really important. That way, when you actually hire a bookkeeper or your CPA, you're actually checking their work. Again, there's CPAs that same with Google agents is like they seem like they know what they're doing, but they don't. Right. And so with Google Ads, that way you can actually check your account, see what they're doing. Because I remember when I was doing Google Ads, where I was paying someone to do my Google Ads, I was getting phone calls daily. It's like, oh, is this waste management? Oh, is this the landfill? Mm-hmm. It's like, dude, that's not what I need. I want someone that's just calling us like they need a dumpster.
Well, especially if you're paying ads that cost you money.
Yeah, because I was able to go in there and I was able to look at the keywords they were using. So, dude, you're using a keyword like let's say dumpster near me, but it was a broad match. So why are you even doing that? I don't want a broad match on the keyword that's exact. I need that exact keyword to be searched and looked up in my area.
Right.
So, but if you're just, if I was just dumb about it or ignorant about it and didn't know what I was looking at, well, people are just going to take advantage of me and just, take my money. They're charging me, $300 a month plus, the fee from Google.
And depending on who it is, they would say, "Oh, that was a conversion," or a lead. Just because you didn't convert on it doesn't mean that it doesn't count as a lead.
Exactly.
And they're trying to show that they're doing work for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find someone that you can trust, but it just takes. I think it's trial and error. You're gonna spend some money, and eventually, I think you're gonna find someone.
I still haven't found an SEO guy. I think I'm gonna have to start doing it on my own, or teach somebody to do it on my own, because I haven't been able to find a good SEO guy. That's
yeah. Because as a business owner, my deal is freeing up time. I've got to free up time and invest my time in the things that's going to give me the most bang for my buck. And so, to me, it would take me a long time to learn how to do SEO. It would take me a long time to know, as far as accounting goes, if they're doing a good job or if they're not doing a good job. So my deal is, I push that off. I have good hiring practices. I really vet them. I onboard them in specific ways. But I've got to push that off of my plate so that way I can spend my time in the things that are really going to bring me a lot more value as far as my business goes. Like, I don't check emails anymore. I finally got an office assistant, and so I don't check emails. I don't put things on my calendar. I don't schedule tasks anymore. I don't do any of that, and I'm taking that time and putting it towards networking, putting it towards marketing, learning about a little bit more about marketing, things that are really going to start bringing me more money in. So it's so business is so dynamic. There's so many facets to business, and it's just finding those things that are comfortable for you, that bring you, I wouldn't say joy, but the things that you like to work on, and then everything else, find ways of giving that to somebody else, delegating that to somebody else. Because Josh, honestly, Josh doesn't, business his size and successful as he is, he doesn't need to be spending any time worrying about SEO. You teach them and then let them go, or hire somebody, let them go. It's just not enough bang for your buck, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're right. It's going to come to a certain point where you just have to rely on people. But just what I was trying to just say is try to have some basic understanding.
Mm-hmm. Let's say just to go check them, even if you're not doing the work. Just say, hey, I got a few minutes. Let's just kind of look at this. Especially if you're questioning if it's working. That makes sense.
Like if you have a person that's doing your SEO, is like every other month or something, just check on them.
Right.
But if you don't understand anything, then who knows what that person's telling you, if it's right or wrong. And I think Ryan, what he's doing is like, if you finally got an assistant where you're at that point, it's just like, we were talking about earlier, buying dumpsters or not, financing is like, dude, if you have the business, buy the dumpster. Same thing with an assistant. If you're busy enough and where you're able to hire an assistant, hire it. Someone that's able to answer the phone, maybe more professional than you are,
Yeah.
Or
I'll let Josh answer.
Yeah,
Alexis is a lot nicer than Josh is.
Yeah.
Because you really, to be honest, like, you want someone that answers the phone, that one has really good customer service skills, and someone that knows how to hustle, someone that knows how to convince someone to rent out that dumpster that, I can probably get a better price at so and so's place. Well, I can do this, I can do that, I work with the customer. So you need someone that's willing to, because you call out of these places nowadays. It's like, yeah, it's 5.5. Let's say 5.65. I mean, that's it. They don't convince you that they don't make the sale. That's what I'm trying to get at. So, but again, you have an assistant. You're gonna have your accountant. Just stuff when companies grow. It's just stuff you need to have.
Growing pains.
Yeah, growing pains. Mm-hmm. But for now, like me, I just do everything myself. But it's gonna come to a point, like if I'm able to grow this company to where my long-term goal is, then yeah, I'm gonna hire someone. I need to hire other people.
So my SEO's new. Just short. The guy that's helping me, he said my area would probably be fairly quick because I'm rural. I'm not in Fort Worth or in Denton. I'm outside of it. And in my town, though, like where my business is at, there's only two other guys that actually have a Decatur address for their business, and I still used to come in like number 12. Guys from 40 miles away came in higher than I did where I'm at in a matter of weeks. Now it's kind of been floating. I come in at the second or third now, and I mean in a matter of a couple of weeks, and I have no idea what he's doing, but obviously he's doing something. I think he's done pretty good. But when I was talking to him originally before I signed up, he said that the average expectancy is people close 40 to 45% of their calls. And like you were just saying, yeah, it's this much, right? Thanks. And Josh has said something not years ago, a while back in his videos about having a female friendly voice, having Alexis or somebody answer your phone. Women care. They'll, ask, oh, how's your day going? Everything good? Whatever. Make people comfortable, and they have a better closing rate. He's like, hey, I'm busy. What size? Here's your price. When do you want it? I think I honestly have I think I probably close no less than 75%, probably closer to 80%. Because like you were saying, being able to do that sale over the phone, I think I close more than my wife would. If I gave her the phones, I don't think she would close as many. When it comes to keeping everything organized, she does better.
But you said yourself, there's also not a lot of competition in your area.
I don't do a lot of work in my area though, which is funny. Okay. I'm hardly ever in my area. Most of my jobs are 30 miles from my house.
Well, I talked to the same guy, and he went over those numbers as far as website views, average website views that go down to the percentage of calls you should receive versus the closure rate and all that kind of stuff. And he said that where I'm at in Kaufman and then going into Dallas, based on everything that he looked at, he was expecting a 10x on my money. So he was expecting to bring me in an additional $15,000 a month as far as new jobs based on the averages that he has seen or researched in the areas.
Right. If he can follow you X amount, you close this percentage.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what made me go ahead and decide to pull the trigger and go with him.
So you're using him too. So like I said, in my area,
not yet.
Going
March 1st.
Okay. So, but yeah, just like I said, in my area, I think it's literally, I think my new website's been live like 3 weeks or something like that. Yeah. And I went from like number 12 to depending on when I've checked, number 2 or 3 in my town. So it's obviously done something, but there's not that much competition. So we'll see where I get. But honestly, most of my work, and before I get to this real quick, Ryan was talking about where your time is best spent. Guys, while you're driving around in these trucks all day, instead of just jamming out to your favorite songs, singing Taylor Swift and stuff while you're sitting in traffic, listening to audiobooks, listen to podcasts. There's a book that Ryan actually turned me on to that's probably where some of his stuff he was explaining sounded familiar. Buy Back Your Time. Mm-hmm. Where is your time best spent? And the other big thing because obviously as a small business, it's hard to justify the cost. Like, a lot of us do a lot of things ourselves because I can't really afford to pay somebody to do that. But if you weren't checking your emails, dealing with that, could you go call contractors, meet contractors, do anything to grow? Could you work on your SEO if you're not doing something else? And he has a formula for your buyback time. What is that time worth? So just kind of think about that. I mean, starting out, obviously, you're not going to have a secretary, your IT guy, your salesman, but there's a lot of piece. And his big thing was what your energy killers, I think is what they called it. And if you like doing the computer stuff, if you like that side, do it.
And it brings you money.
Right, and it brings you money. For me, I have no idea. It's very overwhelming to me. It's been a lot of time learning it. And it kind of, it's just not me. I'm not a computer guy. So that drains me. So I will pay somebody to do that. And I'm going to go out here and just try to hustle on everything else to compensate that. And hopefully, I mean, with SEO, that should, in theory, bring you money. But there's things like that. Can you hire somebody part-time to do something? Because if it kills your energy, once it something gets you down, changes your mood, you're not going to close as many calls that day. You're just not as chipper. But there's different things. But what would y'all say has been because we're talking about the getting started is the hard part, that it's not the field of dreams. We're talking about SEO. I'm just now starting that. What has been the biggest thing, or starting out, where would you, how would you recommend people get business? Because SEO is expensive. How would you recommend people get business? Just because you buy equipment doesn't mean you're going to get work. Mm-hmm. Would you go door hangers? Would you get on your city council meetings? Would you join the chamber?
So I'll be honest with you, the way I still do it the way, when I started, in 2021, I still do Facebook ads. That's how I still get a lot of customers from Facebook.
Like Marketplace or sponsored
Marketplace.
ads?
I still get a lot of customers from Marketplace.
Do you really?
Yeah, I figured with all the scammers and all the cheap price, I never even have run a single one, because I was like, everybody's just going to scroll right past this.
Actual ads or Marketplace listings?
Just Marketplace. I just do a Marketplace ad. You have to word it right. And I think with Brian, I think the hardest part was because actual scammers were using your pictures.
Oh my God, they still are, and it's nationwide.
So yeah,
you got dumpsters in Florida.
Oh my God!
So people were actually using your photos. So I think that's
scumbags.
what they probably figured. I was like, so they don't even know if you're the real one or not.
Yeah.
I have not seen someone use my Facebook ads for their scams, but to this day, I haven't had any of those scammers with me.
Would you say that's the majority of your work came from Facebook?
Yeah. So that's how I started, and I think that's a good way to start. Obviously, only gets you to a certain point, and so if you want to grow, then yes, you have to do some SEO work and some not Facebook, but SEO and some Google ads. But I think if you're trying to get in this business, I think it is really important to do your research. If you're, I do have a 9-to-5 job, which is at a desk, but my family does have a cattle ranch, and so I'm used to kind of doing some labor work. If you're just a guy who's at a desk and doesn't do anything physical, this is not for you.
Yeah. Oh, it's not.
It's not
easy. It's not an easy.
And so don't think that you're gonna be able to go buy a trailer. One of those, whatever trailer pack you want to get, like one of those 3 dumpsters.
Like one of Josh's 4 options out here. He'll get you whatever you need.
Like what I did.
Yeah. You're not
Texas Pride with 3 dumpsters.
If you're not conditioned or you're not used to some type of work outside of office work, I don't think this is a good, side hustle for you.
Because you're out there in 104-degree heat, 105-degree heat.
And the landfill smells so good in the summer.
It smells like money.
Especially if you get a summer rain. Those are the real good ones. But when stuff's frozen in your dumpster, I mean, I've been almost the top of my boots in water running through landfill. You just don't think about what kind of stuff is in that water. Cold, windy, hot, it doesn't matter. It's not, you're not just sitting in the AC driving around all day. When you show up and nobody's on site and there's stuff sticking out of the dumpster, it's not real high, but it's going to shred your tarp, and you're up there trying to resituate stuff. And no, there is work involved. Or you get home like the other night. I got home at 10 o'clock at night, parked my truck, and as soon as I shut it off, it just started dumping coolant. And I had runs the next morning, so I'm out there at 11 o'clock at night in the dirt trying to fix coolant leaks. I mean, it's not always easy.
Yeah, and so I think another thing too, it's labor intensive. I think you also have to have that support from your family too.
Oh yeah.
Your spouse. My wife, Lily. She's been really supportive of me, of my business ventures that I've been doing. And so if you don't have that support at home, you're just gonna struggle.
So I'm trying to work on getting my wife to help me out.
Balancing work and family it's really hard. I'll be honest. I've missed a lot of stuff with my kids. I have 3 kids, and I've missed baseball games. Don't get me wrong. I hate it, but that's what it comes. You know, you just have to at some point you just have to miss. But when you do have that extra time, don't be on the couch. You know, go and actually spend time with your family. But I think overall, I think this is, to me, I think Josh has talked about it. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, he's talked about how much he likes it. I like it. I like dealing with people. I talk. My wife says, "Dude, you just talk too much, man. Every time you ran into someone, you just
you've got to be an extrovert to have a business like this. Anything that's service related, you've got to enjoy talking to people. There's times I don't. That's why I live out in the country, so when I don't deal with people, I can hide. But yeah, if you can't talk to strangers like you've known them forever, like it'll be really tough.
Yeah, and that's what helped me a lot too. That I'm willing to talk to people, and that's actually led me to some work. So other than the Facebook stuff and the SEO stuff, and Brian talked about networking, just talking to people on the ground. Who knows if that one Joe that you're talking to at the Shell station or Quick Trip can lead you to a job.
Yep. Depends on which quick. I can't even say it.
Quick Trip.
Depends on which Quick Trip, because some of them might give you a little more than just a job. They might give you a little bit of some. Never mind. I won't.
Come on.
Little diseases or something. I don't know. There's some rough Quick Trips I've stopped at, man.
Josh is
around town. I don't know. Sometimes I gotta stay far away.
If it ain't Buc-ee's,
no, at Buc-ee's you'll never find any kind of problems.
Yeah. And so.
It's like
you're actually right. One of my first commercial customers came from the Walmart there in Kaufman, the gas station part. Mm-hmm. He asked me about my dumpster, and he's one of my best customers to this day. Yeah. So I was over there just talking to him and getting to know him, and we have a great relationship now.
And it's, when you're starting off too, it's a learning curve. There's always going to be a learning curve, and study the market. I've done it and I still do it. I call competitors and see what their prices are at. And I don't think there's something wrong with it.
No, absolutely.
It is what it is.
You called us like a few months ago, and I even texted you. I was like, "Why you calling the office?" I
was trying to get.
He price checked us.
That's exactly what he did.
Dude, you could have called me directly.
I called the office 2 weeks ago again because I was trying to. I'm trying to get. Again, I don't have 30-yard dumpsters, and people like I can't convince them to go to 20s. And so I was like, well, maybe if I can get Josh or someone else to drop a 30, I just add $25 on top of it. I still make some money off of it. And so that's why I called. I just wanted to make sure it's like, hey, because I kind of know what your prices are, but I don't want to lose money neither. And so I need to make some money too.
Shoot me a text. We'll work out. Well,
Josh is always
we'll work out a deal though.
Well, Josh is always driving. And I don't want to bother him.
He has us all silenced anyways.
Yeah, I know. He's admitted. I don't know how many times he's told it on his channel. It's like I don't even pay attention to my text messages.
There's so many that come through sometimes. I gotta scroll.
And so imagine if I have Josh's personal number, so I don't know how many people do, but imagine how many people call him or text him. And I just don't want to be that other person that just bombards him. If he has an assistant already at the office, I just call the assistant.
You can always call me, Omar. Always, anytime.
But
I call Josh all the time.
When you're starting off, you set your prices. And, you have your other fees, so if the customer overfills the dumpster, you charge them an extra $50 or $100 or whatever it might be. Be lenient, especially on those extra days. Like if they go over the 7-day rental and you charge $25 or $10 or whatever it might be, I don't charge the extra day. Or even 2 days, I don't charge it. Because you never know who you're going to deal with.
I'll charge it.
And there,
hit that credit card on file, man.
I'd rather take a good Google review over $25.
Yeah, so Josh was talking about it. It's funny. So he subbed a rental out to me, and there's overages. So I didn't find out. It was like 2 weeks later. My wife's like, "Hey, is Josh going to pay those overages? Have you talked to him?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "You didn't run his card?" She's like, "No, I was waiting for him to give us the okay." I was like, "Josh would have done that while he was still at the landfill."
Yeah, man. Hit that card.
So I have that bad habit too. I wait for the customer to run their card. I do save their cards on file, and I'm able to run it. It's just, I don't know if I guess it's just me, the way I think. It's just, I feel guilty just running someone's card.
And that's my wife's that way too. She's like, I want them to say it's okay. I'm like, they did when they paid.
But that's not scalable. The thing is, you got to think about what's scalable, and to try and remember or go back a week later or try to get that customer's approval when you should already have that customer's approval to begin with. Really, when you they've already agreed to your prices, they've already agreed to your overages. So yeah, I hit that card.
So I always sees Josh on his videos, you know, he's at the landfill and he just types in the ticket number and it just,
ooh, this card didn't go through. Hold on.
Let's pull over and talk to him. If it declines, yeah, I'm not. I'd rather, if I could, I'll call them before I even dump it. But the other thing I wanted to talk about is about being in business. We're talking about do's and don'ts, and I guess we're talking about ways of being a business owner, how to run your business, but just to be able to sometimes how quick as a business owner, especially in this industry, you have to like switch on a dime. Like you have a certain plan or you have something planned out for this whole year, right? As far as your dumpsters, or, you know, you had planned out, or I had planned out, what was I going to, and then all of a sudden something happens, some unforeseen instance happens, and you've got to either make decisions right then and there that will change your business or the long-term picture of your business, or you're just going to shut down. So you've got to be able to adapt on the fly. That is such a big requirement, I guess, as being a successful, hopefully, business owner, is that just because you had one picture in your mind of how your company should be or is going to be, does not always necessarily mean that's the way it's going to be. Like I said before on the channel, like I've got several guys that, you know, they started out doing dumpsters, but then they went to junk removal, or they started out doing junk removal. They listen to what their clients are actually wanting versus what they want for their business, and they offer what their community needs versus what they thought the community needed. Mm-hmm. That is so important in any business. I think that just you have to be able to adapt on the fly.
Well, that's even your pricing model, like what works in your area.
We've talked about
we do tonnage included or no tonnage included. Like what works in some areas doesn't work for others. I mean, there's all kinds of little things that you got to be willing to negotiate. It's kind of funny, kind of on what you're saying, that being able to flip. And in that book that Brian recommended, that audio, or I've been listening to on audio while I'm driving, he actually says that most entrepreneurs had a rough childhood or some form of traumatic time period in their life that, they said it's not a requirement to be successful in business, but it actually makes you a better entrepreneur because you're used to dealing with chaos or working under pressure or non-ideal situations, that you actually kind of excel in the chaos sometimes versus people that never have dealt with, you know, tough times, or, you know, they said you can grow up with money and like know how to handle money, and that's fine. They said a lot of people that had a rougher upbringing, whether it's self-inflicted or family or whatever, actually tend to do better in business because of that. Everything's always changing. It's not by the book. You got to adjust on the fly or deal with situations as they arise and stay more level-headed, not get stressed out about it and stuff. Remember that flip-flopping? That's one of those.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's really, you know, when you're growing your business, it's really important to have some type of goals, but those goals are not set in stone.
No.
Especially when you're growing, you know, things change, you know, weekly, monthly, you know, every year. So, yeah, you can set your goals and you can try to reach them, but, you know, like Josh says, you have to be able to adjust on the fly. I've never done live loads. Never wanted to do live loads because I just don't have time. But, you know, in the winter it was kind of slow, so it's like I took 2, and, you know, you just have to do it. You know, it was easy money. It took me less than 15 minutes.
I was about to say, I like them because I'm not making 2 trips.
Yeah, and so, you know, stuff like that, you just have to adjust, and, you know, it comes back to your pricing too. You just have to adjust your pricing on the fly too. Yes. I'm not saying like lose money, you know, but you just have to price them. Like if you can knock off $15, knock off $15.
Look at the number of guys that do demo jobs that are making a boatload of money doing demo. Most of them didn't start off thinking they're going to do demo jobs. You know, they started doing dumpsters, and then all of a sudden they got phone calls to do a demo, and they're like, "Sure, why not?" I wish I would get demo jobs.
So you know,
I want to go out and knock some buildings down.
So that's kind of, you know, what I kind of started. You know, we kind of the first. You know, I started like I actually quoted a demo job, you know, last week, and the guy follow up's like, "Hey, you're kind of competitive." You know, I already checked. I'm like in the middle. I'm not low balling or high. You know, so, you know, quoted some middle buildings and stuff. So he's still trying to stay within the same industry, you know, trying to do the dumpsters. I can use dumpsters for the demo. I can use dumpsters for the new construction. You know, it's just something you just have to grow the business. Either dumpsters, you add services to your business. I think it's really important. You know, Josh has just opened up his trailer business. It's really important. You know, you just can't have all your eggs in one basket. And so you're just trying to find, you know, other types of revenue coming in.
I've got a demo quote I got to finalize and send today that it's multiple buildings on one property, but we're going to like over 30,000 square foot to demo. So it'll be interesting. I'm excited to get it, but almost scared.
Like if you,
Hey, my philosophy is a little bit different when it comes to pivoting. So what I look at is I reach real high on goals. Where do I want ultimately this business to be in, let's just say, 7 years? And then from that point, I go backwards. And then so my goals are big. My goals for the business are big. Now, how I reach those goals, I might have to pivot. I might have to change things. I might have to do things different or bring on more services or not, or let go of services. But my overall goals, I try to stick with as much as I possibly can. My passions, my values, my goals. And then the way that because of a recession or because of things not operating probably or being as profitable as I think that they might have been, I have to pivot and change those things. But my overall goals, I try to keep fairly consistent. That's just the difference in kind of how
your timeline changes and everything too. Like you said, I think it was your last weekend video. I think when you were saying that your goal was to double this year, and you're like, at the rate things are going, I actually will probably exceed that. And you thought you were kind of going high. I remember we had talked about it.
Oh no, I actually put it at
you don't have to give
250.
Numbers,
but my goal, my overall goal, I would like to hit the doubling.
Okay, and that's what I knew we had talked, and that's what you'd. Yeah, I was trying to figure that, but I was like, I think you're doing better. My goal is to double this year. My change, as of right now, I'm running over 400% over last year. So I think doubling hopefully shouldn't be an issue. But I might have actually, I think doubling your revenue is a pretty decent goal. I thought that was stretching, but what I didn't factor in, I was thinking like equipment. I doubled my equipment. I'm going to double my potential to cover work. But for me, I just started SEO. I've never run a Facebook ad. I've never run a Google ad. I've never done anything. Mine has all 100% been meeting people, either in the industry, in construction. I'm the guy that I'll pull over in a random job site and go find out who's in charge, talk to them, hand them a card. So I have literally sat there for an hour and a half BSing with the foreman on a job site before that I didn't know till I pulled in. Talking to anybody and everybody, because if they don't need you, they know somebody that can. I hand out cards everywhere. I mean, that one-on-one relationships has been where my whole business comes from, whether it's networking with all you guys or just somebody at the gas pump next to me. It doesn't matter. I talk to everybody, and that's how I've built my business. I think when I was kind of figuring out the revenue, it was like when you meet somebody, say I meet Josh, well, yeah, that's one connection. But then Josh knows 100 people. If he gives my name to 2, that just one turned to 3. And so I didn't really think about how that side of it grows. I get phone calls. I had like 3 of them this week. Somebody's like, oh, hey, so-and-so gave me your information. And it was people out of our industry, but it was just a friend of a friend of a friend, how that has grown. And so I didn't think about that growth side of it, how much that actually affects with time. I know Josh talked a while back about it taking a while. And I think when I was starting, he was like, it'll take you about 2 years to really like people know you're there before you actually start getting more established. You're not just the new guy, a new name. Like once they get used to seeing your truck or seeing your business around, whatever, that really grows. And I didn't factor that in originally, how much of an effect that would have coming into, being in business a few years now, that you don't keeping all your same customers last year and how many you're going to add to that. And then just like I said, that word of mouth, how far that.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. So let's say my goal was on that little bit of a flippant philosophy. Let's just say my goal was I was going to double my revenue for 2025 over 2024.
Right.
Well, one of the things I want to accomplish this year is adding those, let's just say 15 dumpsters, right? And that's going to help me reach that overall goal of an increase, a double in revenue.
Right.
But come June, I can look on and what the way that I'm doing it right now and doing this dumpster avalanche isn't projecting. I'm looking at June and I'm seeing that doing it this way, I'm not going to reach my goal in increasing my revenue. I don't have enough inventory. So at that point, I pivot and look at financing the rest of the dumpsters to get me there a little bit quicker if I feel like that's what's going to fix it. So that was what I was talking about. My goals are big, and they're I wouldn't say general, they're specific, but the ways that I reach those goals might have to change during the course of a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years.
What do you think your capacity is, though, with you're the driver with one setup? Like I said, I think I can realistically cover 15 cans per truck. At what point do you think that you're going to have another driver, another machine? Like, you think you can run 15, 20 in your area?
Not if it was like last year. Honestly,
and that's what I'm basing this year off of. I know how hard it was for me last year.
Like we found out we did about the same revenue,
right?
And I had seven dumpsters. If my percentage is the same as far as the amount of time they're out and rented and bringing in revenue, I don't know that I could double that.
Could run 14 at that
I don't
same
think
rate.
I could. There's
right.
no way I could do it at that same rate. I think last year was just there was some things that I put in place that made it successful, but I think last year was also kind of a perfect storm of me hitting the business and doing exactly what you were talking about, getting known and bringing in more business that way, and being in about 2 years, that kind of thing. So I'm guessing probably on average 15 to 20 per truck.
Okay, so about
Is that what you say, Josh?
I'd say I'm right around 20, 25. It just really depends on your average rental,
right.
in my opinion, right, and how far out you cover. But I added a full-time driver, I believe, when I was at like 23 cans, and then the second truck, and then more cans.
And you don't do 3 days, so you're not flipping them
No.
quick.
I mean, my 15s I'll do 3 days because I only have 5 of them. I have a very small number of them, but for the most part, they're all 7 or 10.
Got you.
So
it's definitely 20 to 25 is my average. I would think of my.
So I'm hopefully I'll be looking at hiring. That's why I'm looking at another trailer and truck. But hopefully I'll be hiring one late spring, early fall.
Okay.
I'm sorry, late spring, early summer.
I know what you mean. That's my deal. Here hopefully in the next 2 months, so I can have a driver. And that's what kills me is it's not the market or anything like that. My time and everything is my location. Most of my work, like I said, was about 30 miles from me. I don't charge travel on that because it's not the customer's fault. I live 20 miles outside of town. Like, I'm 16 miles from a gas station. I'm not going to charge the customer that mileage. But I do waste a lot of time. I do waste a lot of fuel making that trip back and forth. And then if I'm running 2 trucks and everything I do store my stuff at my house. I do keep some at Dad's. It's more convenient. But that's one thing that we're considering probably next year. We're going to wait a little while. But to find somewhere, such as, I don't need the dealer space like you do, but have a dedicated yard closer to the highway.
There's plenty of space here.
Yeah.
There's plenty of space.
When I put in a GPS, I'm like 104 miles from here, so that's not real convenient either. But
Are you 104
miles? Yeah.
But we've got a shower over there. And
So
I noticed that you have a shower out there.
Yeah.
It's like, man, Josh ever get kicked out of the house, man? I don't know where we can find him.
Yeah, I'll only charge you a little bit for rent if you want to move in.
You just need heat.
Well, yeah.
I should park an RV outside.
It's getting a little colder in here.
But no, I think that that'll be probably my next big goal would be to have a dedicated yard close to the highway. I think it saves time, saves fuel. And then that 15 per truck might turn into 20 plus per truck, because that's just a lot of wasted time right now that I'm spending going out of the way.
The guys I see on Facebook that can park their cans at the landfill, I'm so jealous of.
What are you talking about?
Not our landfills, but the landfills in other states or in other cities where
they'll
they
let
actually
you leave
rent
your
out
cans.
spots to their dumpster companies.
Wow.
Where they can park their cans at the actual landfill. I mean,
Can you imagine the
how
competition
quick that would be?
to get into that around here?
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. So if anybody's watching and runs a landfill.
That's what we need to do. We need to, I don't want to put it on here. I'll pitch in, buy some land, and we'll rent it out for people to park their dumpsters right next to the landfill.
There you go.
It'll be expensive, but
It's super expensive. The lot that we'll talk about it.
Well,
business plan.
also like, and here in the area, our landfills almost are at capacity. So kind of one of those things that we kind of started to figure out where the next landfill is going to be.
I've been thinking about that.
Yeah, because
How long was the
McCollum's, they say they still have 20 years left on there, but I think
McComas has what?
20 years left, but I think it's less than that.
So I haven't been in
20,
there.
say that?
That's what the guy told me. I don't remember his name, but it's I'm not gonna say it. But he told me it's 20 years. But when I looked at their plans, they're at capacity, almost at capacity.
So I haven't been there, but I've been to Skyline recently, and I went for you that one night when you had the blowout. And what was that, like a 4-month window or whatever? And it was crazy how much that had changed from the first time I went there till I went recently because I got that job in Dallas. But it's crazy how many trucks are running through there. And it's weird. That's the only one I've been to where they don't like give you a spot to dump. It's like a free-for-all. Just find a hole and stick it in there. Like I sat there like trying to figure out where to go. And trucks are coming around me. I'm like, there's like nobody.
Oh, it's Skyline?
Yeah, like there's nobody like telling me where to.
I like it. I like it.
Oh, it's cool when I figured out that's what was going on. But I'm sitting there like waiting for somebody to like signal me. But yeah, that one's crazy. And it's so much faster because of that. You're not waiting for them dozer to come clear a lane. It's like as long as you don't run into the dozer, like just find a spot and dump. Like it's kind of cool. A little chaotic, but it moves fast. The lines move a lot faster there than other landfills. But yeah, it's crazy how much volume goes into that place. Yeah, they got to run out of room eventually, or I guess buy out more land. But
Well, it's cool seeing them dig a huge hole, and then you go back.
in 6
It's like,
months,
where'd it go? It's
200
gone.
foot up.
Yeah. But I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. Yeah,
That's
Sounds
good.
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 Yeah.
It's a
Getting
good
a-
conversation.
It is a good conversation. Omar, I appreciate you being here, man.
Well, thank you guys, man. I wish I had done this sooner, but I didn't get invited till last night.
Yeah. Well,
Yesterday morning.
I think the guys were saying something about you're almost at the beard level where you got it. Well, Brian doesn't even have a beard, so he's got a little rough thing. So Brian's gonna
I got a
probably
little bit.
Brian's gonna be kicked out until he starts growing a beard.
Well,
it needs to be a beard.
It was a little bit longer, but I don't know what happened, but I was just one of those moments where it's like, man, I'm gonna cut it off, and so I cut it off. My wife was pissed.
She'll only shave when
Man,
you're dead.
when I grow mine out, I look like freaking Santa Claus. It makes me look
Man,
even
mine's-
10 years older
mine's
than
getting
I am.
there.
Because
Mine's
it's
changing colors quick.
80%, if not 90% white.
Oh, I can see it. I mean, we can see it.
No, you can't.
We can see
That's
the-
your imagination.
We
You
can
can't
see it.
Nothing.
It's definitely white. Silver Fox is
I
the
was just
nickname.
going to say that's kind of a thing these days.
Yeah, that's what I heard. It's gonna be called the bearded podcast or something.
No, but for real, man, thanks for having me, and I really enjoy this, and I really hope maybe we can do this again.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, you're full of knowledge.
I don't think so, but
So I like the
I was a little
different-
worried when he said you're full. I was like, okay, but then he said knowledge. I was
Yeah,
just
knowledge.
yeah.
No, but I do like just that you're still a side hustle. That's a topic we haven't hit on because all of us are full time. I guess we probably could hit on that more. What does that look like trying to balance that? That could be tough, but no, there's always stuff to talk about. But that is one thing that we haven't hit on yet.
Well, there's just a post the other day that said there is no such thing as side hustle in this industry, and I wanted to call BS on it.
Well, you got the 24-hour landfill over here. For me, my landfill closed at 4. I got off work at 3:30. I couldn't leave my day job, swap trucks, and hit the landfill. And so for me, as a side hustle, it wasn't working.
I don't. Again, it's not a side hustle if you're spending thousands of dollars on new equipment. Mm-hmm. If you're going to buy a truck, it's not a side hustle because you're not going to be able to. It's going to be hard to pay off that loan.
Right.
A true side hustle is if you already have the truck, you can go out and buy a trailer and dumpsters. You can get some extra money. That's a side hustle to me.
Or if you own a dump trailer.
If you own a dump trailer already, that's a side hustle.
And if you're looking for a trailer, www.americanaf dumpsters right here in the bottom of the AmericanAFtrailers.com.
We need to add more.
That Texas
inventory.
Pride is a beast of a trailer.
Yeah.
That
So if
is
anybody wants it, it's
nice.
still for sale.
What is it? 25K,
26.
26K.
Oh, $25,000?
Yeah.
Yes,
to
25,000.
purchase.
To purchase.
26
To purchase.
GVWR.
If you're able to sell it off this week, he probably throw in a free dumpster in there.
Yeah.
He'll buy you lunch.
Free dumpster. I'll buy you lunch. All right, guys. Appreciate it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, smash the notification bell.
Till next time.
Laters.
Laters.